Hey everyone, this is P4L. In today's P4L review, we'll be taking a look at Ocular Max's very first release from their Remix line, and this is their life-size cassette transformer line. This is Remix RMX-01 Jaguar. Let's go ahead and get started with packaging review, and this is actually the packaging from Planet Steel Express. I guess they've worked in partnership with this box. I'm not sure if all of them will come in this box, but this is what I got. A plain box on the outside, just kind of like a shoebox design, cardboard, and it's recycled. Yay, environment. Just some warnings, etc, 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 and some information about Ocular Max, their website, and their Facebook page. So yeah, there's not much going on with this box. Once you open it up, you do get a little styrofoam insert to keep your cassette tape. You get the cassette case, we'll put that off to the side, and then you actually get one more piece of information, which is this little bitty warning label. And what it tells you is that, let's zoom up real quick so you can see the picture. It tells you that when you're undoing the legs, it's not a tab system where you just tab it in. It's actually kind of I don't know, like a T-bar or ridge-based system where it actually has to slide in. If you try to push it in one way, you could definitely damage the very small tabs here, and we'll go through that in a little bit. And it just goes with some information telling you about that. The reason why they do this is because the tabbing mechanism, or the way the tabs are designed and the way this is constructed, they're not going to be able to get replacement pieces for that. So be very, very careful. Like, again, we'll go over that once we get into transformation. This is the cassette itself. It comes in a nice cassette size tape. I'm guessing it is actually a cassette tape. I don't actually have cassettes anymore, so I don't have really anything to provide a scale, but I'm pretty sure this is the exact same. It does have this kind of radar thing, kind of sensor, which kind of goes with Jaguar or Ravage in his kind of sensory type role. And it does say Ox Remix, High Fidelity RMX-01 Jaguar, and it says diecast at the top here because there's a ton of diecast on this guy. There's also a set of bios, I guess one bio, not set, and you can read that if you want to pause there. And you just open it up as you would normally. There is a specific orientation because of the way cassettes are designed. You have to have it with these missile launchers up here, the chromed out pieces at the top, otherwise it won't close out. Slide this out for now. The instructions fold out like a cassette instructions, or I guess an informational piece. Has some information here, and I'm super excited about this. They didn't tell me that they were going to do this, but if you look down here, they get some, I guess, attributes or credits, and they've always had this for the last couple of releases that they have, but this is the first time they actually have P4L here, so I'm super excited. You can see the official video manual on their channel, and you get to see my logo. I'm so happy. Anyway, very proud moment for me. And the instructions are, by and large, very good. There are a couple of arrows that are not really quite correct, but by and large, they're all the same pictures that will get you through to the end. And it's pretty self-explanatory for the most part. Some promo images, some cool transformation series of images, and that's really it there. You do also get a stack card, a little thin, it's actually quite thin piece of I guess paper or cardboard, and then again same kind of type of bio there, and some stats down here, and some promo images from Ocular Max. And this is actually a render on the front. Alright, let's go ahead and get into alt mode review, and just real quick for scale comparisons, let's go ahead and bring out the MP Ravage, which you can see in this little purple case down here. Open this up, put that off to the side, so you can see just how much bigger. It's like twice as big and twice as wide almost exactly, which I think is probably for the exact same reason why microsets are probably around double the size in each dimension, and about the same size in terms of width. So yeah, we'll get him back in the scene once we do some robot mode comparisons, or I guess it would be robot mode or animal mode. So let's take a look at him from all sides. And as you would expect, he looks like a cassette. He even has little ridges on here to help him move his tape around. So size-wise, he looks great. I do wish he had some more detail, like painted detail, like MP Ravage. And I'm guessing repro labels would be kind of foolish not to go ahead and make sticker sets for these. So I fully expect them to come out with that. But again, I kind of wish they had done that. You do get some nice silver here, silver paint there for the die-cast pieces, and the chrome pieces here for the actual missiles. And then on the inside you get some silver paint. But by and large, pretty plain here. So that's really it for alt mode. Let's go ahead and get into transformation. So the transformation is pretty easy, but there's a couple of things that you just need to be careful of. So the first thing we'll do is actually poke our finger in here and get the head rotated out. Then we'll go ahead and get the tail out. These little flaps are actually held into place with these little nubs. They don't tab in, but they hold them into place. So you want to rotate them up 90 degrees like that. And what I like to do, which is not what the instructions say, is to flip these up now. And then we'll go to the other side. Do the same thing with these little tabs here. Get them all done, rotate it 90 degrees, flip up these fins for the missile, and go ahead and squeeze them together. They don't tab or anything, but the friction holds them into place pretty well. So the next thing we'll do is deal with the legs. So this is the part where you have to be careful. So don't just pull apart the what ends up being the front leg and the back leg. You actually need to slide the back leg up. And you'll see that there's actually a set of ridges on each side that have corresponding sections here for these kind of tabs. So we'll just do that for both sides. I do worry about that because they're really tiny. And mine are already showing wear from just doing the instructional video, and I can easily see them getting worn down. I don't actually think it's that big of a deal. It's not that essential to hold everything in place, but just be careful there. And here's where I'm going to start deviating from the instructions a bit. I like to actually deal with these missiles first. To get everything kind of rotated later, it's easier to have the missiles rotated now, and then to unplug the back leg, and these kind of metal die-cast tabs go into the slot here. I want to get those out of the way, and I actually want to deal with rotating the legs now. So what I'll do is rotate the legs down like this, and then just the missile section, which is attached to this gray section, rotate those up. Alright, and then you can deal with the rest of the leg by extending it out. Alright, so the upper body is also a little complicated. Because they're two halves, the left and right half of Ravage, you want to extend these double ball pegs here. I think they're double ball pegs. And then this section here and this section on this side, there's also a series of pegs that kind of extend out. And then you're going to want to fold the sections downward like this. But while doing that, you also want to pull on the head and then get these pieces rotated the other way. So if you're folding these outward, you're going to rotate these inward. Like so. And then you're good there. Then the front legs will rotate like this. And then down. And then you'll extend the foot. And these are also slotted in right there. Like that. At this point you can finally get these legs rotated. I like to rotate them this way and come back around that way, because if you go forward, you kind of have some interference here. So I just want to avoid that clearance issue and just go around that way. And then last but not least, you're going to actually extend the back and lower it down so it has kind of a curl to it. Like so. And with that, you have Jaguar in robot mode or animal mode. So going into robot mode review. Taking a look at all sides, you can see he looks really quite nice. And he has a whole ton of articulation, which is going to be pretty hard for me to go through all the bits and pieces without boring you guys. But I'll go through most of the major pieces. So first off, let's go with the head. The head does have a jaw that opens, which is nice because MP Ravage didn't have that. He does have, I'm not sure if it looks like a ball joint underneath here, so he gets a lot of wiggle and it feels like a ball joint. He does have these kind of ball pegs or ball joints that extend, which give you a little bit more left and right. He has some joints here up in the neck, and most of them are seemingly double ball pegs or something like that. The shoulders are on ball joints. The elbows, double jointed elbows, or whatever you would call them. He has a paw ankle bend here, and then a swivel at the paw itself. What else does he have? We already talked about the back crunch, so he can get down like pretty rounded into very cat-like positions, odd positions, and there are 2 points of articulation there. His missiles are on a swivel. His back legs are also on a ball peg. His knees are on a joint here, a swivel joint here, or hinge, as well as this kind of, I guess, wrist area, and then the paw is on a ball joint. So the back paws are on ball joints and the front are just on swivels and a hinge. And then I think the last piece is the tail, which is on some kind of hinge that goes all the way down. And the reason why I really like this figure is because it looks way more organic and lifelike. And I was describing this because I was actually one of the first people who were lucky enough to mess with this at TFCon Charlotte last year. And when I was at the table showing this off, people were really amazed by, like, when you twist and turn it, you can see how, like, the back curves and is more rounded, and it even kind of like mimics like a skeletal system or muscular system, so that it just looks way more natural. Like, it's not just blocks that are all connected. These are kind of like the shoulder blades, and it just looks really quite nice how organic it looks. Like this leaping motion you can get with the back arching up, or you can get the kind of crouching or hunching version. And it just looks really, really nice. The only points that I find are a little bit lacking are his neck joints here, because you can't really look up. He's kind of forced into it looking down. So you can look down a bit more, and even that ball joint gives him some extra down articulation, but he doesn't really have any up at all. He can look straight, and that's about it. And that's kind of a shame considering he's super short compared to other robots typically. And so it would be nice if he had some way of looking up more. The only other downfall that I see, or I guess minor quibble I have here on the robot mode, is that these, I guess, panels that come and hide this cassette player piece here, I don't even know what it's called. It would have been nice if they had a little tab like they did in tape mode that makes use of this little recess to hold it in place, because it moves freely here, and so I feel like they should have added one little nub here to keep it in place, and that wouldn't have detracted too much from the tape mode either. But otherwise, it looks really great. There's die cast in a ton of places, like all the lower legs are die cast. These 2 pieces in here are die cast, so he's really quite heavy. The only other piece that I don't understand is this little piece down here. It would have been nice to have it closer matching in this color, since it's supposed to be all one like piece there. Be careful here as well, because you don't want to extend this too much, because that's where these little nubs are for that transformation that hold everything in place. And so if you try to stretch it out too much, you'll probably make it force it in this slot, and that's gonna get rid of that. It's going to damage that that little ridge that you're going to need. So as far as like just overall balance, this guy is really great. You can get into a ton of poses, and I was just messing with him just just because, and I don't know why, but I came to this pose and had him like this, and I just pictured him saying like, "Oh no, you didn't." I don't know why, but I just kind of wanted him to be kind of anthropomorphized, like human-like, and this is the position I got him in, and I can't stop laughing at this because he just looks like he's saying that. Anyway, this is kind of useless, but people said I should be funny in my review, so I'm trying to accommodate those people as well. So this is MP Ravage, and he just looks comically small compared to Jaguar, Jaguar. It has far less articulation, and as I was saying, this guy looks really organic. This guy looks kind of silly here. He just has very rigid sections here in the back, and I really liked this figure when I first saw it, just because he's so small. They do get a lot of articulation, so I still really appreciate this figure. But they did have to make a lot of sacrifice to make it cassette size. It's limited in some of its articulation, and it looks a little bit unnatural in some poses. And then it has a lot of kibble, like here on the leg here and on the inner part here. But still a really great MP Ravage, but just super tiny. And even when you looked at the cartoon, I mean, you noticed that when the cassettes came out of Soundwave that they would kind of grow as they came out. And they're supposed to be about half as tall as MP Bumblebee, which is why I'm bringing him out. And so this is way smaller. Like, he's probably would not be threatened by Ravage at this side, at that size. But at this size, definitely he could do some damage. And then the other obvious comparison is with MP Soundwave, and this looks far better, I'd say, because on the scale chart he's supposed to come up to about the knee area, and depending on how you pose him, he definitely gets that tall. And I think that just scales far better. And so I think it would be cool to, on your display, maybe to have this guy ejecting and having him in the chest, and this guy as, you know, actual robot mode form. I did have one other. Where's that other Ravage I had? I had that X2. Oh, here he is. Here's the X2 Toys Ravage, which is kind of their weird Transformer slash Voltron homage, which I don't know if they ever finished. But he's also considerably larger. And I don't have a Chug Ravage. I sold mine a long time ago since I didn't collect Chug. But yeah. So let's go ahead and get these guys out of the way. Hopefully that gave you a good idea of what you're getting as far as scale. So let's go ahead and get this guy back into alt mode and finish off the review with final thoughts. So the first thing we'll do is straighten out his back. So you're going to make use of those two joints, those two die cast joints here, and straighten out the back like so. Then we're going to deal with the arms and legs, or all four legs. You're going to make use of this tab in that slot here on the front two legs, and the double jointed, I guess, knees. Take care of that first. Fold this up like so, and then fold it down. So it looks like that. Same thing with the back legs. We're going to fold in the paw first, fold this in, and then it's going to fold all the way like so until these butt up against each other very cleanly. Alright, so coming to the back, again, I do this kind of weird transformation. I have the legs like this and then rotate just the missiles and the gray piece they attach to down like this. So coming to the upper body or the front body, you're going to butterfly this open. So once you start butterflying this open like so, you're going to actually want to rotate the neck as well, but you're going to rotate them inward. So again, kind of the opposite direction as what you're doing with this main piece. And then you're going to pull apart to create a gap here. That's where the head's going to go. And hopefully once you do that, all these pieces kind of get aligned. Get the head tucked back so it's in this kind of position, this right angular position. And you can collapse that. Collapse these pieces as well, these ball peg pieces. And this is when you can get the leg back in place. And then you can squeeze downward and those die cast pieces will slot in here. And you'll feel that very defined kind of tabbing in. From here, you can go ahead and rotate these in. Be careful here, these are chromed out pieces and this is die cast, and the clearance is pretty tight. So just be careful, you definitely don't want to scratch your die cast, your chrome pieces on the die cast. Split these fins, fold up the tail, and then work these panels on both sides. And there's little nubs here at the top. Hopefully you can see that. Same thing on this side. Come on. You might have to fiddle with them just a little bit to get them seated correctly. Then once you have all that done, you can push the head all the way around. The last thing I do is finally do that tab section on the front and back legs where you have to slide it in. Again, the rear section has to come up and you'll see these ridges. You're going to want to push down on this, slide this in, and that will lock it into place. Same thing on the other side here. And I do that because you want to get everything kind of in position first before you finish that, so as not to stress or untab those sections. And with that, that's really it. Just to show you how this goes back in, I like to put it into this instruction sheet first and then slide it in, because I find that much easier, because this is pretty tight fit, and sometimes these fins get caught on the instructions on this side, or you don't want to crumple up the instructions if you're OCD like me. You just close that up, and there we go. So, final thoughts for Ocular Max's Remix Jaguar. A lot of people didn't really understand why they were doing this, because they were always supposed to be microcassettes in the show. Soundwave was a microcassette player and not a full-size cassette player. So some people are questioning, why do life-size cassettes when that's not what they really were. But the focus here really is their robot modes or the animal modes to scale better with the official MP line. Because, you know, mass shifting can't happen in real life. To get this guy to fit into Soundwave, MP Soundwave, and be able to eject and have all that cool functionality, they had to sacrifice the size. And so I understand why they're doing this. It really is up to you whether you think it's worth having a MP-sized cassette bot in your collection displayed with Soundwave. I definitely like it. Obviously, I'm not going to display it like this next to Soundwave, but in animal mode, he just looks really, really nice. The only other things that besides the stuff I mentioned before, is that I wish it had a little bit more surface detail in places. It just has some molded detail here, but otherwise it's pretty clean. Like just on the die cast pieces and the missiles are where you get most of the molded detail. I wish it would have had a little bit more detail, even on this small figure here. It has a lot of molded detail in here, so I kind of wish they had that had done that a bit more. But otherwise, I think this is a very cool line, and he's definitely going to be displayed with my Soundwave. And I'm looking forward to the rest of the cassette bots that they have. A larger Rumble and Frenzy would be fantastic. But that's really it for the review today, everyone. If you have any questions or comments, or if I left something out, go ahead and leave them in the comment section below. If you liked the video and it helped you in some way, a like, share, or subscribe would really be great, or all three. If you want to pick this guy up for your collection, you can go ahead and pick him up at Toy Dojo, my sponsor. And as always, if you want to keep up to date with all my news and reviews, go ahead and click that subscribe button, which is that little logo somewhere down here, or wherever it is nowadays on YouTube, or follow me on Facebook at P4L Reviews. That's all for today, everyone. Have a good one.